Pieter Jadoul este Business Strategy and Development Director la Pebble Media. Peste 12 ani experiență în digital, a coordonat mai multe proiecte. Cel mai interesant este, din punctul nostru de vedere și în contextul discuției de astăzi, David. David, I guess, is fighting with the Goliath or something like that. Basically, David, it's a publisher alliance that is trying to do what we are also trying to do with the DMP. And I think the Belgium experience is very valuable for us. So please, thank you very much for being here first.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. The Romanian part I didn't get well. Maybe he just told that I have a wife and one cat.
More or less the same.
Okay. Thank you for having me here. First of all, let's start with an explainer video that shows us you what we started up. Normally there should be sound.
Several premium Belgian publishers decide to combine forces. Together, they create DaviD. DaviD is a new ecosystem that pulls the extensive premium inventory and premium data of various Belgian publishers in a secure environment and makes them available to the advertising market via programmatic ad buying.
Something's going wrong there, but I'll... okay, thank you, Technic.
In a constantly changing advertising world marked by fake news, click farms, opaque systems and technical glitches, several premium Belgian publishers decide to combine forces. Together, they create DaviD. DaviD is a new ecosystem that pulls the extensive premium inventory and premium data of various Belgian publishers in a secure environment and makes them available to the advertising market via programmatic ad buying.
Yeah. Okay, let's skip that. That's technique. It's always the same. You exercise, and then when it should happen, it never happens. But I'll explain during this day, during this session, what DaviD is, why did we start it, how did we set up that project, what are the USPs we gathered, what do we offer to the market, what is the status and the learnings of the project. So we started with the same analysis that your president just mentioned. We were disrupted too. We're still disrupting. We saw also shift the budget towards big platforms. We lost control. And at that moment, and we're Belgians, and there's an expression that said we have a stone in our stomach. We always start building. So we started building, and we built DaviD. What is it? It's an alliance between several publishers. I always name it a coalition of the willing. We're not the biggest publishers in Belgium, but we were the ones that realized that everyone in his corner was too small to do it on its own. So we had to gather forces, we had to combine our assets to offer a solution towards the market. And we really listened well to what the market said to us. They wanted programmatic solution, they wanted flexibility, they wanted brand safety, they wanted transparency. And to do that, we had together several publishers, but also several ad techs, and become more and more transparent. All our offering is enriched with data. You will see that we took the same technical choices as you guys did, and I will explain also why we did it. And together we created a Belgian marketplace. So, as I said, three publishers, sales houses. Pebble is a sales house working for a Flemish broadcaster. EPM works for the French speaking. We have 3 languages in Belgium, makes it more difficult. Because you have to find solutions, because campaigns are always on 2 or 3 languages, because there's also a little German part we received after the war, but never mentioned the war. And ProduPress, who has a lot of consumer data about emo and cars. Together, we have more than 600 million impressions available, and we reach about 73% of the Belgian surfing population. We all know it's never enough. We're talking with other partners, but we thought it could be a good start, and we can deliver enough to make campaigns successful. So, national offer, quality, brand safety, you saw some examples of how it should not be with a lot of banners. So at the very start we made an SLA towards ourselves, but also towards the market, where we granted that we had guarantees on the quality we delivered towards the advertisers and the agencies, so they were 100% sure, and we audit everything, also with, for example, Mode as technology to make everything very neutral in auditing. The data is very comparable with what you guys are doing at Brad. It's the same setup, it's the same kind of data, and we're also very transparent in the way how we build our segments. So, based on that, we built an ecosystem. I stress to say that it's not a walled garden. We don't want to be a walled garden. Walled garden, that's YouTube. You put something in, you never get things out. We are very open. If people want to measure themselves, if they want to track things themselves, there is no problem, as long as it's GDPR compliant and as long as they don't steal our data, everything is possible. So our setup is 3 publishers, putting all their data in one DMP. We all have our proper DMP, and then we have something trying to attack me. That is Romania, okay. Your builders too. I see that. One umbrella DMP. That's coupled to an SSP. We chose to work with 2 SSPs, one for display, one for video. We push our data segments toward our SSPs, or our sell-side platform. And that's a bit different than other data alliances you see popping up all over the world, is that we coupled it to one DSP, and we oblige agencies and advertisers to use the one DSP, so we have a closed ecosystem. On the other hand, all costs are publisher paid. So this means that if an advertiser or an agency puts in €1,000, he will get €1,000 of media value. A second thing we built, and we custom build it based on the DMP, is a data remuneration model. So our publishers receive money for the impressions they deliver, but also for the data they deliver. You could say, as an agency or an advertiser, why is that important for me? Because we have 30 days of capturing data. All our publishers are incentivized to keep their data really fresh and up-to-date. So for advertisers and agencies, this is also really important. An example, if I'm looking for a house today, in 6 months, I hopefully have found a house. But if you keep targeting this people for loans, this becomes a little bit ridiculous, and then people say data don't work, but they work if you do it well. So our DMP is the central part of it. We chose to work with the same DMP as you did with the Brad project, because we want to couple everything throughout APIs on a very transparent way, and that's why we did it like that. Connectivity is very important, and of course privacy by design if you're working with data, and certainly in this area. It's very touchy and you have to be very careful. We were also working with, because we often get the question, why didn't you choose a full stack solution? It would be so much easier to go to AppNexus or Google or another ad tech who has AdForm who has everything in one stack. We chose not to do because first of all, we think that there are development cycles that are totally different for a video SSP or for a display SSP or for a DSP. Everyone has a strong points. And on the other hand, if one doesn't deliver, we want to change it. And that's very difficult if you're in a full stack. And on the third, we really want to be sure that we are able to control everything that happens in the ecosystem and that we see every euro passing through, every data passing through, full transparency. So, what are the USPs? Of course, for a publisher, it's a way to regain control on your data, on your inventory, on who you're selling to regain the conversation with buyers. What are the USPs of your campaign? How can we help you? Why are you looking at that segment and not at that segment? Can we have suggestions? I think as a publisher, it's really important to re-establish that conversation with the buy side. On the agency side, I think that it's a bit comparable. Yes, it's easy to work with some big tech platforms, but local knowledge is so important. There is no one who can better buy Romanian media than someone in Romania. I think someone in London is not able to buy on the same way media here locally, and I think we all have to defend our local businesses and knowledge, because that's really important for the future of our profession. As an advertiser, everyone talks about GDPR, everyone talks about transparency. Every advertiser wants to know where his euros are spent. I think transparency throughout an ecosystem is very important in that way. How did we roll it out? It took us like 2 years of conversations with publishers, but also with media agencies and big clients, because we wanted to have the take-in as from the start. We wanted to pitch the idea, we wanted to refine everything, because first we thought, oh, second price auction, then we thought, oh no, first price auction, header bidding, no header bidding, everything like that we discussed with end publishers and media agencies, but that created like a kind of goodwill around the project, because we all know if you start something like that, the first campaign is a drama. It always is. And there are always problems, just like my video just before. When it has to be good, there are always problems. So then you have to have agencies who support you and say, okay, this is going wrong, but we have a solution, and we on our side too. We took a large RFP on the tech stack because we wanted to be real sure about the technologies we chose. We organized a lot of education for all the buyers. That was one of the more hardest things to do, because it's change management and no one wants to change, me neither. But it's doing things you didn't do yesterday and changing the way you buy, changing the way you think, getting the telephone, trying to find solutions. So it's a change project. The first campaigns we set up in the agencies, together with the agencies, that worked really well. We organized tech camps to get everyone together. They can also have conversations with each other, and that makes our project more rich. And we have work groups on regular basis to improve and create new segments and respond to the demand. So what do we offer for the moment? We have 72 segments that are standard. Then there are all the custom segments we can build. We see that 90% of the demand is we can respond to them with our classic segments, classic offering. The full transparency works. We have a cookie match rate of 80%. That was one of the biggest problems before, is that we didn't have good connections or with AppNexus or with Google or with someone else. Now we see that in a one-on-one relation between the DSP and the SSP, and when everything is monitored, we can really raise the volume. And that, of course, is good for the agencies because they know they can buy and they are sure they can deliver in the ecosystem. And it's also good for the publishers because before we were always troubleshooting to get 50 euros in. Now we're troubleshooting to get 15,000 euros in. So it really makes a difference. The independency works. Our tech problems are very limited. It's internet, so there has to be tech problems, otherwise we are not paid, but it works. And we're building up, again, local support, local knowledge, and yeah, the way segments are built are very similar with what you guys do, and so I will skip that one. So where are we now? We launched in January 2019 with our first campaigns after a test period. We have now on a monthly basis like 40 to 50 campaigns running. All our main Belgian agencies are on the platform. Some were early in there, some were more transparency isn't always a good word for someone, so just saying that, and that's all I will say about this. But it sometimes needs also a way of changing your business model as an agency to work on a transparent way. And we also have integrated new assets like predictive targeting with the University of Antwerp in there, and so we're constantly developing our project. We have also onboarded for the moment audio. We work for Spotify, so they will be also in the platform. The most important thing for me was that we regained the conversation between publishers, sales houses and agencies about the KPIs of the campaigns. We're doing back what we did before, that's thinking about good campaigns, and technology is very important, but at the end you want a good campaign that delivers the KPIs of an advertiser, and I think that's the kind of solutions we are looking for. Of course, we were very happy not only to be possible, to have the possibility to speak here, but we also won some prizes with it. So it's all moments we are creating to talk about this project in which we strongly believe. In Belgium, this all led to a discussion that goes further than the three coalition of the willing partners. And there's a big gathering now with the big telcos, with some television players of how can we create a DaviD 2.0 where also the link towards targeted television is there. So for us, DaviD is a starting point. It's a seed we're planting, and we hope it will grow, and that in a few years it won't be named DaviD anymore, but Henry or something like that, and will be far more than what it is now. What did we learn, and what could be useful for you guys is that, yeah, okay, take your time to take the tech stack, because it's really important to have the good connectivities. I think with everything I heard of what you guys are doing, that you are, for the moment, in a much better place than us to start things like this, because you already have the base set, and you already have the data sets, and you already have the experience to build the segments. We just started at that before we launched DaviD. One thing, never underestimate the legal part. If you're not Google, then legal is a problem with GDPR. When you're Google, nobody cares because you can change anything. But if you are a local player and you're talking about GDPR, every legal service starts to be difficult. And as I already said, transparency is important, but sometimes it scares people off. Yeah, change takes a little bit of time. You need people to invest themselves, to educate themselves, to try things. I was always a bit stunned about the fact that tech people aren't that tech savvy as I thought they would be. I thought that if you love technology, you play with it. But some people just like to push the button they always push every day, so you have to change that. As a publisher, I think you can learn that you can regain some control on your data sets, on your inventory, and there are other ways to sell programmatically. And also as an agency or an advertiser, that's also true. You can have your own data. You can protect that if you're a bank, if you have data that you don't want to share. It's really possible to do that with connections, with DMPs and with ecosystems without having to share everything with everyone. So that was my final slide. Thank you very much.